5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you look up her singing on the internet, well, people came to laugh at her. Who is she? A crazy, talentless woman or a singer gifted with a rare talent? How did director Anatoly Hostikoev manage to present an incredible story and teach this actress how to play the main role of Natalia Sumska by training her to sing off-key and even fake it because her pitch was far from perfect? Watch further in this episode of Pro Art about a fun and relaxing holiday, courage, and a subtle performance. The most important thing was to decide why she had to sing that way. That's just the way she was. It was not a PR stunt. The play of the contemporary British author Peter Quilter, Glorious, was noticed by Anatoly Hostikoev a long time ago. Upon taking up directing, he was finally convinced that it was a bullseye. The paradoxical phenomenon of the opera diva Florence Foster and the singing talents of an actress Natalia Sumska determined the success of the play. But there was one difficulty: the singing had to be talentless. Of course, Natalia Sumska is the highlight of the performance. She sings opera arias herself, but Natasha had to learn how to sing wrong. It was one of those tasks that we eventually solved, but it was very difficult. We tried to be closer to the truth, such as it was, but I cannot separate it from myself, since I am an actress and I also have some moments in rehearsals where I can or cannot cover it with my vocal range. How did Natalia Sumska herself see the legendary Florence? Having wonderful soprano, which according to critics even opera soloists can envy, the actress had to convince the audience that her vocals were terrible. Together with the director, they found the only correct solution: hypocritical deceit. I think that according to the reaction of Lviv, it was amazing. When people heard the falsity in her voice at the Opera Theatre, they decided that Sumska came to Lviv without her voice. It was a complete failure. Backstage, Natalia kept asking me what to do. I was scared myself, but we kept going until the end. Eventually, the audience finally got it, especially after Natalia sang "The Queen of the Night." I understand ovations when the play ends, but as for ovations during an aria, those who saw it will understand me. I also got a little of that fame.
Під час виконання арії зупиняють, хто бачив, мене зрозуміють, і мені трошки перепало цієї слави.
The main heroine of the musical story is a real character from 1940s, Florence Foster Jenkins, an opera singer who, according to experts, had neither an ear for music nor voice, yet managed to gain extraordinary popularity among the audience who appreciated her for her incredible inner freedom. Such is the fabula, but a director saw a special rare gift of the actress beyond the apparent falsity in her singing.
Там же в неї є троє друзів, які в захопленні.
She has 3 friends who are delighted with her singing. And I asked myself, so they do understand that she does not exactly sing correctly. They are not tone deaf, and yet they still praise her all the time. And when the understanding finally dawned on me, I said, "Good job, Hostikoev." I realized that she sang how she liked. When she wants to, she sings properly. If she wants to fool around, she can lead the whole orchestra with talentless rudeness. The highlight of the Florence is that she did not play with audience. It probably was the hardest part, to move away from the historical character and create my own unique image. During the play, our own Florence developed. Our Franco, Kiev, Ukraine Florence. Ukraine author of the play presented a mysterious and extraordinary American woman who was creating her own world in the heroine. The director Hostikoev saw the Ukrainian actress Natalia Sumska in Jenkins, who brought her own unique charm in this story. Sumska's voice is filled with the divine blaze of the soul of Florence, as well as the fanatical belief that she brings people the same joy from music that she feels herself.
Тобто це абсолютна свобода.
So, absolute freedom, and I understood that. In this play, Natalia sings some parts totally wrong, and others she sings perfectly. And then the audience understands that Sumska has a voice and an ear for music, and that is just her interpretation of the image.
І це її трактовка її образу.
І вона, звісно ж, вона в моєму тілі, в моїх
She's in my body, in my emotions. She almost looks similar to me. I just had to borrow some of the features of the character, a little bit of her peculiar talent.
Трохи її таланту, такого дуже своєрідного, скажімо.
By the way, she came up herself with a bright, brilliant dress with angel wings of Florence for her last performance. It is an image of an angel of inspiration with huge wings on its back. She appears on the cover of her album in the exact same dress. People can say that I cannot sing, but nobody will dare to say that I did not sing, Sumska quotes the heroine. This actor's ability to see oneself from the side is very important. Perhaps it was absent in Florence, and that is why such an extraordinary historical character came to be.
Персонаж історичний.
Мені б хотів показати якраз
I would like to show the human spirit, human courage, and extraordinary belief in oneself. And that is why our performance is so optimistic. But there are also times when my character speaks about how people always disgrace what they cannot do themselves.
Завжди ганьблять те, чого не можуть зробити самі.
Але це триває лише мить. Аж поки не зазвучить оплат.
The daughter of an American industrialist, Florence was obsessed with singing from her childhood, and she sang. She believed in her uniqueness, but music critics scolded her, wrote devastating articles about her, saying that stars go out and flies drop dead from her soprano. How does one play such a role?
Що так звані концерти мадам Дженкінс абсолютно бездарні. Ганьба Америки.
У нас вона набула особливого такого.
In our division, she acquired a special influence on the audience, since we have filled the role with many other features, both the play itself and the character in particular. She, being most likely funny, made people laugh, so there is this dissonance about her peculiar strangeness, and at the same time an absolute belief in her uniqueness.
Абсолютна віра в свою неповторність.
Paradoxical and mystical, loyal to her master, the voice. Lady Jenkins sang like she wanted, like she felt. For some, she was a voiceless laughingstock, for others, a deity. Tickets for her performances were sold out instantly. Among the admirers of her work, there were many celebrities who worshipped the singer's courage, at the same time laughed to tears during her live performances.
О, листівка від родини великого Каруза. Мушу зізнатися, що саме містер Каруза заохотив мене виступати на таких зібраннях, як зараз.
Мені вона приємна і приваблива.
She attracts me with being very sensitive, gentle, funny, and somewhat strange.
Якоюсь девакуватою.
All the other characters in the play match the eccentric Florence. This whole company of eccentrists, fascinated by her voice, built their perfect world in which there is no envy and no evil. Here, music, the fantastic beauty of the theater, and the unity of human souls reign. The Franco actors emanated creative courage and the strange and thoroughly enjoyed playing their roles to perfection.
Взагалі, функція будь-якого персонажа.
In general, the function of any character affects the play. There must be an ensemble, and it seems as though we have reached the level of an ensemble thanks to which viewers cannot even buy tickets 3 months in advance.
На 3 місяці вперед.
The miracle of the heroine's transformation in the scenic space was created by a real team of like-minded creators. The charismatic Anatoly Khostikoev managed to convince, enchant, and unite everyone around his director's interpretation of the play. Of course, I have long wanted to meet Sergei Masloboyshchikov. However, I wanted him to stage this play, but he refused to direct and said he would help me as a set designer. I'm very glad it was him. He once said, "I will take my name off the poster," and I replied, "I will kill you if you do that. Let's find another solution to this disagreement." And when the premiere finally took place, when I saw all the scenographic beauty, there was nothing superfluous. We kissed each other and made up after that. As for Natalia Rudik, with her costumes alone, one can make a spectacular performance, having such eye-catching costumes, such a brilliant actress, such as Masloboyshchikov, such a wonderful collective, and such an impeccable orchestra that provides the necessary musical support.
Такий колектив і такий оркестр наш.
Traditionally, the symphony orchestra and the conductor are in an orchestra pit, but everything is different in this performance. Director Hostikoev has a full-fledged live orchestra, one of the main actors, and all 22 people on the stage. But it was making the extremely picky musicians play fake roles that was by far not an easy task. They say, how can I play this? This is supposed to be a C, and I reply, no, it is an F. They were going insane about that, arguing that no such rules exist, but I kept forcing them to do it in this performance because it is a particular kind of a play. I asked them to trust me, and they did. Now, I see that they are very satisfied with their work. I think this is the first time for our city and country. Anatoly Grigorievich did a stand-up job. I really like how he works with our creative team very softly, yet persistently. There were performances where the entire orchestra played in the pit, but a play with the whole orchestra on stage is something new. The fact that Anatoly Hostikoev included the whole orchestra in the performance raised the orchestra itself to a higher level. Recently on tour, I was lucky to play on the stage with the Lviv Opera. It went over the flying colors. I think that this was a very successful experiment and our viewers highly appreciated it. This is common for our theater. I think that both we and our audience are used to do it now. This is a fantastic play. I hope the audience also gets the same sensations and reacts positively. This is a wonderful idea that was introduced by director and my dear companion and partner Anatoly Hostikoev, that the orchestra should be right here on the stage. There is no such thing in the play itself, and this creates a very organic, purely theatrical situation. The opportunity to work with the live orchestra is great. Nothing could embarrass the charismatic Jenkins. She did not need neither money nor success. She serves music, not playoffs. The letters and postcards from the many admirers of her talent as a sign of their gratitude were truly delightful.
Ще один лист. Лист із фронту. Не знаємо, як називається те, що ти там співаєш. Але під час обстрілу ми вмикаємо запис, і твій голос заглушає виття мін.
Everything happens live in this play, the performance of roles, the singing and the dancing. But what about the dog? The audience can clearly see that this is a toy dog.
А потім я придумав, що вірніше не я, а Куілтер написав, що ця собака померла.
And then I came up with, or rather, not me, but Coulter wrote that the dog died. And we have a part where we bury the dog, but in the end I decided that we need no death. So I used the toy dog instead, and then suddenly a live hefty dog ran out on stage and started deliriously barking. So it showed that life goes on.
Тобто життя продовжується.
Hostikoev is the director, Hostikoev is the producer, but it is impossible to forget that Hostikoev is an actor. He gave the audience a good share of his positive emotions and enthusiastic bewilderment. What? Does he also play the saxophone?
Я і сам не знав, аж поки не спробував.
Я спеціально вивчився на саксофоні для цієї вистави. Спеціально. Причому я трошки надурив глядача.
I learned to play the saxophone specifically for this performance. I also deceived the audience a bit.
І все. Веду спеціально таку.
I first played just one note, F. I made it look like if the hero is just learning to play the saxophone. But he says, I will play a solo for your triumph.
Я зіграю
And then I
соло.
played a live solo on the saxophone. Nobody had any doubts, because performing live on stage is live no matter how you choose to call it.
Сумнів те, що це живе, тому що живе на сцені, воно завжди живе.
The performance at the legendary Carnegie Hall in New York was the peak of the creative career of the Florence. In the play, Anatoly Hostikoev erased this climatic episode to the apogee of the grandness of art. The farce is over, and in the grand finale, a pure, beautiful voice of a true opera diva can be heard. Perhaps the heroine heard herself that way in her heart. Moreover, Natalia Sumska discovered a new facet of her acting talent and unquestionably captivated the audience.
Бо багато на світі.
There are many such people in this world who, despite everything, believe in themselves. With that belief, she gained popularity, and thanks to that, she got a chance to perform in the highly respected Carnegie Hall. She made the viewing audience laugh, she created the dissonance with her singing, and she did not even notice that. Though, who knows, maybe she did not notice that. In order to establish oneself, it is necessary to experience something and walk down a certain path in life and your career on the big stage. Constantly sold-out tickets and the stunning success of every performance. Despite this, every next performance of The Glorious at the Franco Theatre will be preceded by a scrupulous rehearsal to once again feel the inspiration just like before the premiere. And that, so the professionals say, is the true sign of acting par excellence. While there is no point at all to go on stage without courage, this is why we always gathered at 4 o'clock. One cannot just go on stage right away. It is necessary to rehearse the episodes and get used to working with one another. In a word, everyone must have that courage, starting with actors and ending with the dog. I talked to the dog, explained to him that he would also have to be an actor for the day. I came up to every artist and inconspicuously whispered this in their ear. And thanks to that, I believe that, as a director, I have successfully managed to assemble a true collective. And then, once again, a performance comes alive on stage, dedicated to the art that can create miracles and influence people in fantastic ways and enchant them and discover in everyone the special character trait of kindness and a talent of incomparable beauty.